this computer.
Is there an intro song for this?
I haven't been able to work that out yet. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to BC Hornets version of Sports Roundtable. Tonight with us, we've got Aaron Surratt, my son, from over in Champaign.
Hey, folks.
Coach Jared Hoots, coach of the Brown County Hornet baseball team and assistant coach on the football team and teacher at the school. Nick Hendricker, our local Cub fan, funeral director, and jack of all trades. He helps with, he's an assistant baseball coach, assistant football coach, and all things technical. And we're working on our technical tonight as far as Facebook's concerned. It's not working very good for us, or not working at all. And so we're going to record this and put it online for people. And then the last guy is Kevin Dieterle, a Little League coach, my partner in broadcasting for basketball and some football, and just all around good friend. And so, guys, how's everybody doing with the lockdown?
Can't beat a day like today, can you?
Nope.
No.
A lot of time outside today.
Yeah, I ran a little chainsaw today and took out a bush and mowed and did different things. Aaron, you've got 3 kids, so life gets interesting for you and Coach Hoots with kids.
It sure does, and they are itching to get out and do stuff. So having a day like today is great for them to get outside and burn off some of that energy. Not be able to go to parks though. That's a little rough.
Yeah, and you know, the social distancing, and I tell you what, my wife has. Her opinions changed drastically over 6 weeks. I mean, when it first came out, the stats we were seeing from other countries was showing, you know, it was no worse than the flu, you know, the death rate and some of the things going on. And so with what's happened and it, you know, being in her backyard right now, and she has at least, I think, 2 patients in the unit with it, it's changed the outlook, because she looks at some of the things that people are doing and going, you're not 6 feet apart. There's more than 10 people there. You know, let's do precautions, because she doesn't want her hospital to be like it is out in New York and some of these other places, or even Chicago. So we just encourage people to stay cautious. That's why we started the roundtable, is we wanted to give you something to do. Not only the 5 of us, but other people to listen to and have something to do in the evening. Normally, if we were in season, we'd give a Cardinal report, a Cub report, a Illini report, anything else we have to report. You guys were talking earlier, the Illini report on the guy going to the NBA on the Illini. What's up with that?
Yeah, so Kofi Coburn, starting center for the Illini this year, he was the only player I saw to start all 31 games. Kid out of Jamaica. He declared for the draft. I did some reading during our technical difficulties, and he did not hire an agent. And what that could mean for the Illini is that he can test the draft process. Of course, they have to figure out the draft process first, but talk to teams, get some feedback from teams, and maybe talk to some agents, and actually he can sign with NCAA approved agents and still come back to Illinois if he decides that that's his best option. But he's going to test the waters. And if you look at the players on the team, especially now that Alan Griffin has transferred, Kofi and Io are clearly the 2 players that have the potential to go to the league and be impact players. So we'll have to, kind of like everything else, we're going to have to wait and see a little bit on what's going to happen with Kofi.
Yep. Coach Hoots, any comments on it?
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be interesting. You know, the whole draft process. I was watching ESPN last night, and they said that, you know, they can't have individual workouts, and there's a lot of stuff they can't do that they normally do. So they're really going to have to go off of game film and probably coach's words would be my guess. The one thing they could do is, I think, have a 4-hour time limit. Cell phone interview is what they got going on right now. So it's going to be hard for probably a guy like Kofi that, you know, a lot of people don't know about, to get quality looks and move up those ladders. And me personally, from a, you know, Illinois fan, I hope that both of them are there and they have a nice run next year in the NCAA tournament.
So essentially, we're going to have to go old school, watch film, evaluate the player's action on the court during the season against competition, value that against who he's playing against. To me, I don't see a downside to that. I think there's a lot of hoopla put in, just like the combine. I mean, we've had people that don't run fast 40s that are great football players.
Jerry Rice is probably the greatest example of that. If you were clock his 40 time, it was never that great, but you never saw him caught from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kevin, any thoughts from you, Illini?
Yeah, I think that I think it's an interesting thing, and I'm actually going to disagree with Coach Hoots already. I think that the way the draft process is going to have to be set up is perfect for him. If he wants to get drafted, this year's the year, because college basketball is down. There's not 10 elite players out there that you can point to right now and say, oh, he's going number 1, he's going number 5, he's going number 10. I think Kofi can sneak in there, early second round as just one of those big men that, I think Kansas had a big man. I don't remember his name, but there's not too many big men out there right now. And yeah, his game is not polished at all. He has no mid-range game. He shoots free throws relatively well for as big as he is, but I think that being unable to continue to break him down in person, I think is an advantage for Kofi Coburn. I think that he can get drafted, and I think it's a good thing for him, especially where we're at with COVID and all this crazy stuff going on. Hey man, go get drafted if you want to get drafted, if it's possible. But not hiring an agent is also the best thing that he did.
Okay, Nick, any thoughts from you?
No, Steve, they kind of said it all. So
Okay. We talked earlier while we were going through technical difficulties, talked about baseball, and baseball kind of has a plan maybe to start playing baseball. Coach Hoots, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, last night I think one of the ESPN guys broke it that they're playing right now. Major League has a plan. It's in the early development stages of going down to Phoenix and having all the teams shipped to Phoenix. There's 10 different stadiums, including the Diamondbacks and all the spring training and Cactus League facilities, to go there and start playing without fans. That means the players have to be quarantined there, get tested regularly. Couple things with that. They said that they're going to have electronic umpires. With that, electronic strike zones. I know some of the minor league leagues experimented with that last year. And then also with that, kind of the 6-foot social distancing, like since there's not going to be anybody in the stands, they're going to put like the dugouts in the stands, and they're going to have to wait, on deck or in the hole, like in the stands, and then walk up the bat, which would be kind of different. But they didn't have a time frame. They did say that a lot of the medical experts were, on board with this plan with it right now. There's a lot of logistics, and it seemed like the players were on board with the owners. So, a lot of them want to get paid for playing baseball, and this is the fastest way they can do that.
yeah, Hootie, I did have a question for you on that. I didn't know if are they getting paid right now?
I can't answer that. They said, I saw something the other day, with that, the NBA, I know they were starting, I think after April. I watched, they said something last night on SportsCenter about when the paychecks will come in if they don't start playing. I know a lot of the major league players are donating money to the minor league players because they don't make very much, to try to help them out, pursue their dream. I see a lot of that on Facebook and Twitter and social media right now. So I can't really I can't answer what they're getting paid right now because the season really hasn't started. I don't know how that works. So
I know that minor league players in particular, they don't even get paid during spring training. They don't get paid until actual games start, and their pay is pretty small to begin with. So I think I saw something a couple weeks back that teams were going to put something together to give them some money while they were kind of waiting things out. But I think it was in the like $400 a week range.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's just going to be interesting on how the whole thing plays out. Like they do a 100-game season, no fans in the stands. Like I think the fan is one obstacle that changes a game. I'm interested to know how that kind of plays out in like a postseason situation.
Well, they were talking today that baseball is a $10 billion industry. $10 billion. And the fact that the fans in the stands is where they make a lot of their money at. You talk about the Dodgers that draw 4 million fans a year. Now, some of them come in late, leave early. It's the whole LA thing. You look at what the Cardinals draw, and you look at the businesses surrounding that. You don't have any fans. It's going to be an economic hardship, not only on the ball teams, but all the subsidiary businesses. Think about those places in Ballpark Village and all the restaurants and everything around that.
I struggle to feel sorry for some of those ball teams because they're under some $1 billion TV contracts that if you start playing, those contracts are not going to be null and void. They're going to be good to go. Fox Midwest is still going to get their games that they're supposed to get. So as far as that goes, I don't feel sorry for a ball club financially, except for maybe like a Tampa Bay who, their payroll is nothing. But for a St. Louis Cardinals or a Chicago Cubs squad who makes millions of dollars off of TV contracts, I think they're going to be just fine. What I do not like, I think that I'm a baseball purist. So if you're not going to do baseball the right way, then don't even have a season. Don't go to your electronic umpires. Don't go to a shortened season. I want to see 162 games because it's the only sport that plays that long. It's America's pastime. I want to see it played right. I want to see it played the way it's supposed to have been for the last 120 years. And so if you're going to do it right, take the full season off. It is what it is. Fans came back after the strike. I think they'll come back after COVID.
I agree with you as far as the fans coming back. In fact, I think like everything else, I think there's going to be a new view at it. There's going to be people who haven't went to a ball game for years that have said, I've been cooped up for 3 months. I think I'm going to go to a ball game. And that's some of it until we know that the virus is gone is going to be tough. I'll give you an example. We have a cruise scheduled for July. Probably, 6 out of the 8 couples have canceled already. We're probably going to cancel because July 15th might be the first that some of those cruise ships lead out. And I have to be honest, I don't want to be the first one on the ship. And so, there's going to be some scared people that are not going to want to go in crowds. Unfortunately, if we have, can't you imagine what it'd do to the sports industry if it comes out somebody went to a ball game and then they tested positive after they went to the ball game? That's almost like a restaurant getting a bad health inspection.
That was one of the early concerns. What would you do if one of the players did, come down with the virus while they're down there? Are you going to shut that team down? How's that fair to shut those 2 teams down while the rest are playing? And I mean, there's all kinds of hoops they got to jump through and stuff like that. And I know they talked about the media contract too, that people's already talking about how they're going to fix the media contracts and stuff like that. Would Fox Sports Midwest and all the Fox Sports channels just carry their teams down there, or how would that work with limited personnel being able to go too? So, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, they've talked even with the NBA playing to open arenas, trying to finish their season out, putting players in the stands and separating and doing some things. But you can't play basketball 6 feet apart. I mean, baseball, most of the time you're pretty not close to each other. Most of the time. First baseman's holding the runner on. He's going to be one of the people who gets the most contact. Catcher with the batter.
A batter, a catcher, or an umpire.
Yeah. Now, the base umpires can stay. In fact, sometimes the more footage you get between you and the bigger view you get, sometimes it's a better view. We'd have to contact Barry Wright for that.
I don't think most umpires can see anything. That's just my opinion.
That's probably accurate. What I think is interesting is how many people, if we know all the facts and everything now, if MLB just came out and said, here's the deal. We're going to open the whole thing up. You come at your own risk. If you get sick, you get sick. How many people would actually go to the games? How many people would roll knowing everything they do now? I think more people than you think would actually go to the games.
I just go back to 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the beaches of Florida. Okay.
Yep.
That's my only comment.
You're sounding like Dana White over there. You're going to move some foreign island and just produce baseball like he's doing with the UFC right now.
Oh, jeez.
He's got a map behind him. It looks like he's picking his country to move to.
Maybe he knows more than we know. He's out there hunting islands for baseball.
I'm taking guys with me. Yep.
Yep. The best joke I heard during this whole thing is I think we discussed it the other night when he wasn't on. If you don't want to catch COVID-19, wear a Cubs jersey because you can't catch anything in Cubs jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said
Okay.
that 16 too.
Let's move on to a different topic. We discussed the best pro basketball player of all time. Now, it's really going to be the third best because we could sit here and argue about LeBron and Michael all night long. But my question is, who's in that next spot? Who's your next favorite if you like either one of those? Because, see, LeBron's down on my list. He's not one of my favorites. You know, and therein lies he's, in my opinion, he's a good ball player. He's a great ball player. But I have some others that I like better. Who wants to start that?
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
This is a guy that I never liked watching him play. I actually hated him because he was the first one ever compared to Michael Jordan. But Kobe Bryant, for me, is easily – I think he's better than LeBron. He's the greatest competitor of all time. He won 2 championships without Shaquille O'Neal. He won 5 total championships. I don't think there's a dispute that as a competitor – there's nobody as good as him. Dude would shoot 70 shots a night, and I get that, but he wanted to be the guy. And you don't win 5 championships. And his teams after Shaq left, Lamar Odom, are you kidding me? Steve Fisher, he had nobody. If we're going to put Pau Gasol in the category of a Scottie Pippen, that's crazy. So those last 2 championships that he won were literally on his back. So for me, hands down, even though I hated to watch him and I hated the fact that people started comparing him to Michael, and one of my greatest sports plays of all time was when Michael ran down the court and blocked him on a breakaway. But, Kobe Bryant for me is the best besides Michael.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I got Jordan 1 and Kobe 2. I'm not a LeBron fan. I don't know. Not my cup of tea. I hope AJ is watching because we argued this for however many years we coached together. I think LeBron's a great athlete, but if my championship was on the line, I want somebody that wants to take the shot. And I would offensively almost rather have Allen Iverson with the ball than LeBron. And I'll probably get some slack over that. But and if you look at a total player, like LeBron, I think he was only the 5 all-team defensive player only 5 times. And Jordan and Kobe were both higher up there. You can go back to probably Wilt and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I'm not that old, so I don't really know.
I am.
I wasn't going to say it, but with those guys. But I got Jordan 1 and Kobe 2, and then LeBron would be 3 in my – as far as I was alive watching play anyway. I was back end of Magic and the back end of Bird. But, obviously you want the ball in Larry Bird's hands and James's hands at the end of the game, in my opinion. So.
Well, I'll throw that out there. You brought it – the style of play. LeBron plays what I call a little more bully ball. And from talking with me, Kevin knows this from watching girls basketball. I hate it. Even though I could have survived really well in that, Aaron could have survived really well in that, having your hands and pushing and being able to create that space. You look at Kobe and you look at Michael, they weren't that physical. They weren't as physical as LeBron is. So I just throw that in for my 2 cents.
I would say he's not as physical by a physical statue, but LeBron has not taken the Pistons beating that the Pistons gave the Bulls. He is not a physical player. He is soft and wants to shoot jump shots, which drives me nuts.
If there was a Bill Laimbeer in the league today, LeBron would cry every time he played him. He'd probably sit out.
Or Charles Oakley. But also,
Oakley, sure.
how many times has LeBron sit out? How many times did Jordan Kobe quit? Like, I need a night off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see
Never.
that. You don't
Yeah.
see that. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I see him on the offensive side. I'm not talking defensive. I'm seeing him on the offensive side. Shoulder gets lowered. He cries if he doesn't get the foul, but he cries if he gets called for the foul.
he should post up everybody that's guarding him and just drop step and throw him in the stands and make a layup. But he's going to shoot the jumper.
Okay, who's up next?
I'm gonna go a little old school here. It's not a guy that I ever got to see play, but what you guys may not know is that growing up, the sports books that I had access to as a kid were my dad's sports books. So I'm gonna go real old school and say that the third best basketball player of all time was probably Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, good
Man that
choice.
averaged a triple-double for an entire season, 40 years before Russell Westbrook did it. And, just played in a completely different era. But if I'm looking for somebody that I'm going to start a team around or be the third best player, I want somebody that can do everything. And a point guard that can start his own fast break and then finish it right up at the top of my list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Nick?
Yeah, I'm a big who is this PJ Tucker fan. He played for Houston. He good on he drew a lot of charges, and I drew a lot of charges, so we have that in common. And it's always a good debate.
So that's your favorite ball player. Now he's not good enough to be number 3 on the list, though.
Well, it's simply because I couldn't pronounce that guy's name. But the whole Michael and LeBron debate, like, I just think LeBron is a freak athlete. I don't really agree with what the guy stands for sometimes, but I mean, he's probably one of the best athletes on the face of the planet. So that's all I got there. I was like, I'm younger than you guys, so like, you guys are all old, and I was kind of going out when the whole Michael Jordan thing was going out too. So I never really got to watch him play a lot. So
I don't think LeBron James could hit a fastball. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you. But I think he is a unbelievable athlete.
Yeah,
I think he's a freak of nature, and he was built like a Greek god, but that has nothing to do with being an athlete. I don't think he could play tight end. I don't think he could swing a baseball bat. I think he's just a really, really big basketball player.
I would disagree with you on the tight end.
Just because I don't like him, but
I think if he would have trained to play professional football, he would have been a heck of a tight end with that vertical and that build. I mean, he's probably going to be more of an Antonio Gates type tight end. He's not going to be, that blocking tight end. But man, he could have, if he would have gone the Antonio Gates route and went to the NFL, I think he could have been a serious weapon that way.
He's a true guy that did the basketball in college and then switched over to football. San Diego Chargers.
Gates. That's what I just said.
No, the one before him.
Well, you got Tony Gonzalez. Kellen Winslow basketball.
No, I'll think of it here in a minute. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Got to go back in the files for that one. I'll come up with it.
Honestly, guys, too, like, I'm not an NBA fan. Like, I just don't watch a lot of NBA. I'm an NCAA guy, but like NBA basketball, I just don't find it interesting.
I haven't watched it for the last several years, and it's because I can't find that player that I enjoy watching the game that much. I mean, my era of watching a lot of NBA basketball was Magic, Bird, in that area, and the rivalries between the Celtics and the Lakers and the teams that were going on, and having the Bill Lambiers and the guys that played the game. My person on the third on the list is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Not only was he a great professional basketball player, but he was a great college basketball player. He would make top 3 on both lists, college and NBA.
Also a great actor.
Yeah, if you like, well, great actor. Yeah.
If only he would have had some good movies.
That's true.
Well, Airplane's a good movie.
No, no,
No.
no.
Oh goodness. But hey, I go with him. I mean, that would have been in that pile of books you had, because I think I had a book on him.
Yeah,
The
for a while
funny-
I didn't know who Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was. I wondered what happened to Lou Alcindor for
Yep.
quite a while as a kid.
Yeah, he's one of those people that really changed NCAA rules. He got paid at the time, what, $10 an hour, Aaron, to watch the automatic sprinklers come on at UCLA at the football field.
I don't think I knew about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he was the reason they outlawed dunking, right? Back in the 70s. Wasn't that
Well,
him?
He was one of them. Yeah. So that's my pick. So has everybody had their pick?
I think so.
Okay. I said the other day, I'm a big coach guy. Who's your favorite coach in the three big sports? Baseball, basketball, football. Who's your favorite coach? Who do you like to watch coach ball games? Start out with Nick. We'll start with the youngest guy. He's got the smallest field of people that he can go to.
I am, and this is not because he won a World Series with the Cubs. I liked him before that. But
Oh my God.
I am a huge Joe Madden guy. I like
It's terrible.
the guy stands for. Like, I just enjoy watching him coach. His style of coaching, how he lets his players do his thing. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well,
I have to say, if I'm picking my favorite Cubs manager, Don Zimmerman, most colorful guy ever to play the game and get kicked out of ball games.
Oh, Earl Weaver has to take the cake there.
Well, or Billy Martin.
Solid choice.
So basketball and football, Nick. I know you don't like basketball. Anybody on the basketball side or on the football side you'd throw out there as your favorite coach?
I like Lovie Smith. I think that Chicago Bear guy was terrible. Goes to Illinois and rebuilds a program. It's unbelievable what he's done with Illinois. So yeah, credit to him. And I love the beard.
He took the Bears to the Super Bowl, Nick.
What are you talking about?
He got fired.
Oh.
Well, how
Only
long is that list?
for what you did or what happened last. You know, I mean,
That's the last time.
There were sports things that happened before 2010.
yeah. But see, I'm only 22 years old, so not really.
Aaron, he's pulling that card. You don't remember anything before age 5, right? Is that
Well, that's usually 7, but sports things have a different category. Those things apparently get filed away in the to be remembered area.
All right. Anybody on the basketball side, Nick?
No, I don't care about basketball. And
Okay. Kevin?
I really like to hear from Hoots.
Well, we're going to save him for last.
Well, baseball is kind of probably a surprise. For me, Bruce Bochy, I think, comes to first and foremost. Just one of those silent managers who his players love him. And although I hate most of his players, Madison Bumgarner, big game Timmy Jimmy, back in the day, I don't like any of his pitchers, but he won a lot of ball games with a very subpar his lineup wasn't good, but his pitching staff was always really good. So he managed his staff. He managed his bullpen really well. 3 out of 5 years, the Giants win the World Series. One of those years they beat the Cardinals in the NLCS, which broke my heart. But, basketball, Tom Izzo comes to mind for me. I've just always respected him. I don't really know why. I mean, he's won championship. With Mateen Cleaves and that crew back in the day, Maurice Peterson, that was a great team. But he's only won one championship, and people up there worship him. But I think it's his relationship with his players that I respect so much. And then, of course, football, it's got to be Ditka. I mean, who else is there but Mike Ditka?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Aaron,
I'm not a fan.
you're not a fan of Ditka?
You're not a Bears fan, and also you were born like 20 years after that. So
Yeah, but I did his players were good.
all coaches' players are good, Nick.
So many more Super Bowls, Kevin. It's not even terrible.
It's bedtime for you.
You need to
Night night.
Off, Steve.
Night night.
No.
Okay, Aaron, I don't know how you follow that.
I think I'll follow with a joke that I promised I would ask.
Oh,
So does anybody know why it gets hot after a baseball game? No? It's because all the fans leave.
oh,
Nice.
She's told that one the other day.
That was pretty good.
You gave that to
Yeah.
her the other day, didn't
Good
you?
dad joke.
Yes. That's the only
Dad
jokes I
and
have
grandpa
now.
jokes are my favorite.
But back to the topic at hand. Favorite manager to watch or appreciate. You know, I know this is kind of a homer pick, but I really like Tony La Russa. You know, even back when he was in Oakland, he kind of revolutionized the way we use closers. And you can not love the way that bullpens get used these days and how many pitching changes there are. But for somebody who is, you know, ahead of the curve before analytics were really a thing, somebody who just did it himself with and really changed the way that bullpens worked. I mean, have to give La Russa a lot of credit, and his players also really appreciated and respected and loved him, I think, as well. So La Russa's got to be my pick on the baseball side. For football, that's tougher because Cowboys coaches tend to be pretty terrible most of the time.
And the Cowboys tend to be pretty terrible most of the time.
Hey, yeah, I'm aware of that. So I think, I mean, you have to love Jimmy Johnson. How about them Cowboys? And as a Survivor fan, you know, watching him actually and he wanted to go on Survivor, and he went to get the physical and the medical, and they told him he wasn't healthy enough to do it. And so he said, this is my dream. And so he went and got healthier and, you know, changed his body physique a little bit and went out at 60 plus and played Survivor. So I have to love me some Jimmy Johnson and appreciate that commitment to a dream that you have. Then on the basketball side of things, I mean, I like Greg Popovich. I think he, again, takes the system and, you know, finds the players that fit his system, even if they're not maybe the best players, but finds a way to utilize them. And you know, for looking at, you know, somebody who maybe took a lot of charges, Bruce Bowen is a player that, you know, you look at and don't think he's all that great, but he was instrumental in the Spurs' success when they were winning championships like every other year.
Okay. Go Hoots, you're up.
Well, I did pro and college because sometimes it's hard for me, like the pro managers. I like to, I don't know, research and stuff, the college guys, because it's kind of more stuff you want to implement or you might be able to steal something from and take it to the high school level. Basketball wise, pro, Phil Jackson, always enjoyed watching Phil Jackson. I mean, if you think about all those personalities that he had to manage, you know, whether it be in Chicago or LA, you know, we won't talk about the New York Phil Jackson, but, you know, the LA and the Chicago Phil Jackson, where, I mean, all those personalities to manage those guys and, you know, to get them to play well. The college basketball, I'm also a huge Tom Izzo fan. I think, you know, for a guy that's always in the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16, Elite 8, you know, Final Fours, and not having the 5-star recruits every year, he has a system, and he's dedicated to his system, and he does really well with what he does. Also a big Mark Few fan out of Gonzaga, because he had plenty of chances to leave Gonzaga to maybe a bigger, more money place, but he's at home in Gonzaga, and you got to respect a guy that stays there for 20 years and does it his way and stays true to that university. Football-wise, right now, I'd say my favorite pro manager, coach would be Andy Reid. I don't know. I just like, there's just something about Andy Reid that you just want to root for, as far as, you know, his personality and, you know, bounce around. And if you think about all the great quarterbacks he's coached over the years, I mean, he's obviously knows what he's doing with all those quarterbacks. College football wise, I'm a huge Clemson, Dabo Swinney, Brent Venables fan. Of course, me being a defensive guy, there's a lot of defensive guys that I look at. I think, you know, if I had a son right now that could play Division I football, I'd send him to Clemson if they want him, because I just think that Dabo is that motivator, and then Brent Venables, the way he coaches defense, the stuff he has is just phenomenal. I'm also a Saban fan. I just think that he's kind of old school in the fact that he does does it his way and does the things he's supposed to do. And then my also college football guy that I love is Mike Leach. Now, you might find that hilarious, but if you want a good follow him on Twitter. He's another guy that just kind of does his own thing. Huge Mike Leach fan. Baseball-wise, also a La Russa guy. Just the way that he managed his bench and his bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to mention La Russa without Dave Duncan. I think it's kind of that, if you look at almost every good coach that, we would name, his assistant is just as, whether it's an offensive coach and their defensive coach, or if you go like Phil Jackson, the Tex Winter, all the offensive stuff, the triangle offenses is, but Phil Jackson managed the people and Tex managed the offense. Also, if you want a good YouTube look up, you're talking about guys that are funny. If you go with baseball, you go Wally Beckman. You want some great ejections of all time, look that dude up. It is absolutely hilarious right now if you're missing baseball. And then
and for Nick, that's a New York Mets second baseman, correct?
I'm fascinated with the fact that Kevin is on a green screen.
No,
dude.
He was just reclining in his recliner back for a nap, and
That wall is so white.
It's not a wall, dude.
Is it drywall?
Dude, I thought you were the tech guy.
What are you on right now?
Huh?
It's got to be a green screen because your hat's cut now.
Hey, you'll figure it out.
He's just got that map of the whole continent behind him.
Yeah. Real professional and clean, dude.
And the college baseball dude is Tim Corbin out of Vandy. I think he does a great job out of Vanderbilt. I like watching his stuff.
okay, I'm going to go old school because I am. So, and I will say this. Why Aaron can be a Dallas Cowboy fan, I have no clue, because the whole time that he was a baby and growing up, he sat right here watching the Redskins. I'm a George Allen guy because George Allen took old guys and put a team together and won a Super Bowl with misfits and rebuilt the Skins. Then you can't Coach Gibbs, I absolutely respect because of his faith and because his style of coaching. I thought it was good. I thought it was not good for him to come back. I thought it was a new era. It was kind of rough for him to come back in that era. So those are two of my favorite football coaches. Baseball coach, I tell you what, again, you talk about using what he had. I go to Whitey Ball. He didn't. Whitey
solid choice.
Good manager. I mean, in an era where speed, I mean, it's like when Whitey left, base stealing became an obsolete thing. Everything's power hitting now. You don't manufacture runs. And personally, I think La Russa learned a lot from watching Herzog as a manager. NBA, I'm going to somebody who's currently not in the NBA, but he's also my favorite college coach, Rick Pitino.
I knew you were going to say Rick Pitino.
Really?
As a man of the Lord, I can't believe you're picking Rick Pitino.
I'm picking that on coaching ability.
Is this the Pitino Mafia telling you right now to say that?
My favorite guy currently.
How much did Rick Pitino pay you to say that? That's my question.
Well, he got me some tennis shoes. My favorite guy right now is Stevens for the Boston Celtics. I think years from, he's developing into a good pro coach. And I think he's got the respect of his players. I loved, his commitment to Butler, but when the opportunity came, I think he picked the right team to go to for his abilities. So currently he would be one of my favorites out there.
I think the other thing he did right with the Celtics is he found a front office that knows what they're doing too. I mean, Danny Ainge, who I don't know how many of you all will know this, but Danny Ainge was a professional baseball player for the Toronto Blue Jays before he professional. Well, at the same time, he was a professional basketball player. But Danny Ainge is one of those few people that's taken that really great leap from successful NBA player to excellent NBA executive, and you have to give him all the credit in the world for doing really great and putting that team together.
I think Steve Kerr does a good job currently too.
I like Steve Kerr.
Now, if you're a Bulls fan, you like Steve Kerr because all you ever heard was Steve Kerr. I just thought he managed the basketball team well on the floor, but I think he manages his basketball team now really well.
Anybody that keeps Draymond Green from going crazy multiple times a year gets a lot of respect from me.
And have you ever seen the 30 for 30 with him and all the pain that he goes through, like with his back that he has to take care of, like just to be able to be out there to coach? Crazy.
And he's got good people around him because you can't be away from the game like he was. What was it, last year or the year before? Was it a stretch of like 30 games or something like that? Assistant coach picked up and the program went because he has this philosophy, and you better be on board with the philosophy of your team. And so again, good, you said it, good coaches pick good assistants, and they're good because of some of those people. All right, last topic of the night, and then we'll cut her off for the evening. This has been fun. I like this. I just wish we had our live screen with us so that people could ask us questions. We might have to keep Perry Wilkerson off of it because of the questions that he would ask. Short question, best ballpark you've ever visited? Start with Hooter.
Best ballpark?
Yeah.
Well, I think St. Louis is the best ballpark just because who plays there and being a Cardinals fan. But I'd say other than that,
and let's say minor league ballpark too.
I would say, I don't know. I mean, we went to, I was telling you guys last week that when we're up in, whenever Sarah has the national tumbling thing, we usually pick a minor league game to go to. And this is my West Virginia Cup right here from last year. Went to the All-Star game in West Virginia. But up in Madison, Wisconsin, the Madison Mallards, they put on a really good show. And they had the first time ever had a baco, which is a bacon shell taco. Absolutely amazing, by the way. So
everything's better with bacon, right, Aaron?
Except some desserts. Some desserts don't do well with bacon.
So that's mine.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, super disappointed. I don't have a better answer for this. We were supposed to go visit Miller Park this year. It was Colin's birthday or Christmas present, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. I would never say Wrigley. If you held a gun to my head, I would not say Wrigley. There's a lot of history there, but
attention.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I just think you're a moron. So I just
get off
Busch Stadium is greatest.
Up minor league park, Hootie. I want to get it right.
Busch Stadium, easily the greatest environment that you could ever watch a baseball game in. Greatest fans in the world, bar none, hands down.
Hey, any minor league ballparks?
Never been. I do enjoy a good Jim's game on a Sunday night, though. We go to a few of those. Joey Pollock, he trained Colin down a complete game, so we went down there and caught him hitting a couple home runs, and so that's been a real thrill for Colin. But, yeah.
Okay, Nick?
Obviously, favorite pro parks, Wrigley. Just going up there. And, going around Wrigley is almost more fun than going in. Just kind of the atmosphere, especially if like a series game, like a Cardinals game, something like that. That environment is surreal. And
that's because of what the Cardinal fans bring to the ballpark for that game.
Every time I've been there, the Cubs have beat the Cardinals. Once was a 2-run walk-off, and once was a grand slam by Baez, and it was unreal. It's a lot of fun.
So you weren't there a couple of years ago when Matt Carpenter had 5 hits, hit 3 home runs, and they won by 15 runs? You weren't there then? Okay.
Well,
I was there.
You weren't there in September either, I assume.
Actually, that's a good series because it was a weird one, wasn't it? Like, I think the Cubs won by 12 and the Cardinals won by 15, and then they kept going back. It was all huge scores.
All I know is that St. Louis won the season series last year.
Yeah. They
did. The division.
But here's the thing. Whenever the Cubs win the season series, they don't end up in the playoffs, and we do. I noticed that when the Cubs win the series, we still end up in the playoffs.
Well, that's not a real fair comparison. The Cubs don't end up in the playoffs all that often, except for a 3-year stretch there.
I'm just saying that you
with
guys
the same players too.
You're not going to say anything that offends me because I've heard it all.
And we love you. like a redheaded stepbrother.
I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to give you my minor league part.
Okay.
Story on the deal. Cool story. Kind of fell into it. It's the corn crib in Bloomington. Crazy deal when Nathan actually got to play on the field. We were the first game ever on the facility. It was brand new, and Tom Lenz at the time knew the owner personally. He called him up because he wanted to see how the turf played, if it played natural or if it skipped or however he wanted it. He wanted it to benefit his team, and we took a 9U team up there and hit the ball around a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. So corn crib, definitely my favorite minor league part.
Okay, Aaron.
So for a professional game, I mean, if I'm going to watch the team, for me, it's Busch. But the nicest park that I just enjoyed the experience of being at the stadium would have to be Comerica up in Detroit. We made that trip, me and Dad and David, back in kind of the early mid 2000s, and we went one day and we had such a good time. We just enjoyed so much. We went back the next day, even though that wasn't really the plan. Couldn't find a steak in all of Canada, but
or in Detroit, not a
or
steak
Detroit.
goes
That's true.
during the day. Yep. And how long ago? Because you had your learner's permit.
I think
because we drove home all night.
Yeah, no, I think I had my license. I think that would have had to been the summer after.
So you're
after
16.
my sophomore year.
How many years ago was that then?
20 years ago. Wow, I'm old.
Wow. So the ballpark was fairly new at that time.
It was real new. And then on the minor league park, I mean, lots of minor league parks are great. I think Modern Woodman up in the Quad Cities is really nice as long as it's not flooded and you can actually get into the stadium. Because I mean, they went like the first half of last year and nobody could actually park in the parking lot. And then over in Peoria, Dozier Park, Dozier Field is really nice as well. They've done a really good job with that.
Okay, Hooter, did you start out though? You started.
I did. Just when you guys were talking, we're at the Rangers. When I was in college, we went down to the Texas Ranger Stadium. One of the coolest signs I've ever seen is when you walk into their gift shop, whatever. I can't remember how big the picture was, but it took up the whole wall. It's a Nolan Ryan had Robin Ventura in the headlock. It's popped back and it says "Don't mess with Texas," real big in it. That's probably one of the coolest things I've seen in the ballpark.
Well, Aaron took mine because that Comerica ballpark was brand new. Detroit was not very good, so we walked up to the window both days in the afternoon before the ball game. We got tickets like 8 rows up on first base, I think.
Yeah, they were good seats.
Had a really good hostess or whatever you want to call it, their usher, who helped us find stuff, told us what to do and so forth. But yeah, we ended up staying for 2 games. We started out though at Comiskey Park. That was the worst ballpark I've ever been in.
I don't. I went
August day, and we were in the outfield bleachers.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. Minor league ballpark, man, I've seen a lot of them because we usually go to Florida spring training. We used to spend some time over on the St. Pete side, so there's several ball clubs you can see there. The nicest is the Yankees facility. It's got a triple deck behind home plate, for the fans to sit in. Just a lot of good minor league parks down there. I do like Peoria a whole lot. I think it's a great experience. The most interesting experience was last year we went to Daytona Beach to see the Torticas play, and that is the stadium that Jackie Robinson played in. And they've kept the old wooden bleacher kind of seats on one side, and so you've got history and nostalgia with that ballpark, and I find it kind of interesting to go to some of those ballparks. So, final thoughts from anybody? How about so our fans kind of know when they look at this recording, we're talking everybody good for 8 o'clock? Would 8 o'clock work next Tuesday?
Yeah, that'd be good for me.
And we'll pray, fans. We hope Facebook or YouTube, one of the two, works tonight. We had a problem, so we don't know why. It worked great on our practice run. But I think we had good discussion tonight. I think our fans will enjoy that. Shout out right now because they do a lot for BC Hornet Sports, Cast Communications. And I know they're doing yeoman's work out there at trying to get families internet right now and doing installs and keeping the internet up. So a shout out to them for being a sponsor and all of our sponsors for BC Hornet Sports that we can't do without. I told somebody, I said, my days are busy because as a pastor, I'm looking at all these innovations to do, but I miss the nighttime and doing the broadcast and being around you guys and being a part of that. That's the part of my social life that I miss that kind of keeps me balanced on things. So, Aaron, and I'm excited that you could join us. This is exciting because one of my dreams is that we live close enough together that he could broadcast sometime, but take McMurray off of the list of potential places of you going. Last question, Coach Hoots, you might have heard, or anybody, what about Tanner Susenbach? And he was playing football at McMurray. What's going to go on with Tanner Susenbach?
Well, I think we'll know more next couple weeks with it. I talked to him last night actually, and he's here in town. He's working right now, and he's got narrowed down to 2 schools that he might be going have an offer with to go play, and he's going to narrow it down between those 2. I think as long as the other one offers him, he's got one offer on the table right now, but he's just waiting for that second one to come in, and I think it's going to get waived. As far as with McMurray closing, he's going to be able to not have to sit out. So, so that's a good thing about that. So, and if everything works out, he'll be moving up out of Division III to a 1AA school. Is probably his 2 choices right now. And once he lets me know for sure, I'll be more than happy to show that information. But he's still trying to make that decision right now. He has a lot of offers on the table, but I think he's trying to go as big as possible. And, he's a good tight end and got the size and strength, and wish him nothing but the best of luck. And hopefully he remembers who coached him so I get some tickets.
Okay. Okay. Last thing, I just thought of one more thing, and it's going to have to be it. We've heard that they're going to allow – the NCAA is going to allow seniors to come back next year. Correct?
Yes.
But did they expand the scholarships for the schools? That's my question. If anybody knows or can look it up before we get together next week.
I saw something on it, and they said that I can't remember how they worded it, but they're going to expand the roster. The roster will be expanded, whatever they can have as far as Division I goes. But I don't know as far as the money pool what that looks like, because if I remember right, baseball has – man, what is the rule? It's crazy. I mean, you're lucky to get if you get a full scholarship to play baseball, you must be really, really good.
Yeah, I think usually they only give about half. I want to say it's like 12 scholarships for the whole roster or something.
12.5 rule for some reason. For some reason in my head, 13.5 or 12.5 rule.
Yeah, something like that.
It's something crazy like that. So a lot of people are on partial scholarships. So I don't know how all that's going to work out. Just like the Major League Draft, they don't know how that's going to work out too. So I mean, that's a big question. So I don't know, a lot of stuff's up in the air with that.
Well, we'll talk about drafts and so forth. That could be a topic for next week. Thanks for joining, everybody. And to our fans out there, thanks for being supporters of BC Hornet Sports. We hope you have enjoyed our sports roundtable that we're doing. And stop in and talk to us next week as we go 8 o'clock next Tuesday to bring the broadcast to you.